I feel like this film paints very tall, intimidating white dudes with glasses and thick beards in a very poor light. Everyone, it's me, Aaron.
Not
that we needed much more help. I know what I look like. Michelle, I want you to know you're very special to me. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron, and this is our post-Geekout reaction for Unsane, which I don't think is an actual word. My grasp on the English dictionary is so loose to begin with. I don't need made-up words for titles of movies. But yes, this is the new Steven Soderbergh film, and it is a psychological thriller, I guess I want to say, but like also real thriller kind of thing. You didn't actually see this.
No.
So this is just gonna be basically me doing my review of the film. Although for anybody who's not seen Post Geekout reaction before, it's one half review and one half just discussion about the thing that we just saw, and that does include going into spoilers on this. And this does get kind of spoilery towards the end of the movie. There are indeed some big reveals that go down in this. Some of them pretty early on in the film, so I'll start off non-spoilery, but as we get in, you'll know when to jump out. So, this film is all about this woman, let me bring up her name. Why do I always put my phone away when we start these? Sawyer Valentine, played by Claire Foy. And she has recently moved halfway across the country away from Boston. She started this brand new job, but the thing that she hasn't told anyone is the reason why she moved away is because she had a stalker. She volunteered to work at a, not a hostel, what do you call those things where someone is, hospice. Very
big difference.
Yes. Yes, as I said, I don't have a good grasp on the English language. Really stinks that I chose a career path that involves me talking for a living. So she used to work at a hospice, and while working there she ended up meeting this guy, and she was working with his dad, and after his dad passed away, he ended up just getting super fixated on her and began stalking her, and he just had this like feeling of, yes, well, you know, the day that I saw you, my life changed forever, and we're completely different now, and oh, I could just feel that you're the one for me, and I'm destined for you, and we should be together forever. And she had to take out restraining orders. She, yeah, basically just had to completely move away to finally get away from him. And now she has started to feel like she is seeing him again. And so she decides that she needs to go in for a little bit of extra help. So she goes to this, just to talk to someone, just to talk to like a visiting physician at this hospital. And they go, okay, that's pretty good. All right, just sign all these sheets, you know, and we'll work out the next time that you see us. Oh, okay, then sure, great. Yeah, you know what, I actually do feel a lot better. It'll be great to see you again. Do I need to read every single word? No, that's just all the basic stuff. Always read every goddamn word. Before I go any further, I feel like I should point something out. Mental health is a big issue these days, and there are a lot of people out there who do suffer from actual real conditions. And they kind of worry about, you know, taking their medication. They worry about actually seeking out doctors. They worry about actually getting help. And if you ever do feel yourself in a situation where you think you should reach out for help, by all means, go out there and do it.
Yes, like that's happened to me before, like with my anxiety and everything, so.
Yeah, and it definitely improved after you spoke to someone about that. But for anybody out there who are having those thoughts or thinking maybe I do need to go out there and see someone, I do need help, or should I keep taking this medication? Should I keep talking to these doctors? Do not, for the love of God, see this film, because this is every fear you could possibly have.
Yeah, that's kind of why I did not want to see this movie.
It's a weird thing, because I was like, I'm glad you're not seeing this, but I'm also intrigued to see what you would have thought, but I didn't want to put you through that.
Yeah, it's like the moment you told me, oh, it's about this woman who had a stalker who thinks she's being stalked, and it turns out she might be real, and it's like, she might be telling the truth. It's like, oh, this is getting uncomfortable. Like, just the synopsis you gave me, it's just...
Oh, you didn't even sum up the worst part of this. Yeah. The worst part is after she signs the paperwork, they go, all right, great, follow us. Oh, I thought that was it. Okay, I'll just come with you. I need to search through your bag. Why? It's standard. It's what I have to do with everyone. It's not, okay. Why are you taking my phone? Why are you taking my wallet? Why are you taking everything from here? Then another person comes in, strip down to your underwear. I need to examine you. I need to get back to work. What's happening here? And it's like, no, I need to do this. This is just what we do. And then eventually she finds out the paperwork that she just blindly signed said, I agree to commit myself voluntarily for the next 24 hours. And he goes, oh, what? I didn't agree to that at all. This was not what I wanted to do at all.
You always gotta read the papers.
Dude, I read the fucking iTunes agreement thing before I go there. I'm paranoid about that shit. So she is now stuck there for 24 hours. She cannot leave. And then and the people there, yeah, they got problems. The lady in the bed next to her, every fucking word out of her mouth makes you want to just like run as far away from her as you possibly can. Like okay, gonna get a little bit mature here on you folks. Very first night, she is going, hey, Jill, how's your baby, Jill? Hey, it's like, I'm not fucking Jill. I don't know who this is. Just stop fucking talking to me. And she reaches down in her pants, pulls out a bloody tampon and throws it at her. And I was like, Jesus Christ. And then like our protagonist, whose name I keep forgetting, Claire Foy is the actress. I'm just gonna keep calling her Claire Foy. Sawyer. So Sawyer looks at her and then just goes, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass for doing that. What's wrong with you? And then she like lifts up her shirt. She has sharpened a spoon into a shiv and she carries it with her at all times. And she's like, yeah, just try it. And I was like, fuck! I would not sleep.
Like, what did she do to sharpen her spoon? Like,
oh, you just steal a spoon and then just up against a wall just for like days, just slowly. Yeah, you can get it down.
Isn't that why they have like plasticware at insane asylums?
Good question. I hadn't thought about that until now, but okay. In all fairness, it's probably pretty easy to find a spoon like somewhere in the cafeteria.
I guess.
Yeah, but anyway. So yeah, very first day that she is there is like, fuck, I would not have slept that entire night. I would just like try to just maintain until it was time to go the next day. But she is like screaming for someone to come in and help. And then this guy comes in and it looks exactly like the person stalking her and she freaks out and slaps him. Then as soon as she slaps him, she looks at him again and it's not that guy. So it's trying to set up this this storyline. I'm not even gonna call it B storyline, I'm not gonna call it C storyline, because that kind of gets into like my full review of this. It sets up this lingering theme in this film of, is she actually insane?
Yeah.
Has she actually been driven to that point where she has seen this guy? Does this guy even exist to begin with, or is it someone she imagined at all? That is like one of the things they want you to think about this. Because yeah, this guy walks in, she freaks, slaps him, and then it is a different guy there. She clearly has seen things. So that is part of all this, and the next day she ends up going in to see the main guy there, the head of the whole department. Mm-hmm. And he is like on the phone on something. Yeah, okay, all right, oh yeah, I gotta go. It's like, yeah, just not giving her any respect or anything. And then she tries to explain what's happening, that she didn't mean to be here, she didn't mean to sign that, she wasn't planning on this at all. And then he's like, well, we've deemed that you're a threat to others and yourself, so we have to keep you here for a week. And she's like, how am I? Well, didn't you say that you've had suicidal thoughts before? It's like, they asked me, have I ever had them? It's like, yeah, sometime in my life I've had them. Well, you're a threat to yourself. And also it says here that you assaulted someone else here and you assaulted an orderly. It's been a rough day, okay? So yeah, they are now keeping her there for the next week. She cannot leave for a week at this place. And this is when it gets into the very interesting part of this that they did not explain in the trailers. If you've seen the trailer, you know most of the premises that are in this film. I don't know. The thing that is not in the trailers, that is a big part of this, is that she meets someone there who seems okay. He seems like he's doing all right. He says he's there for an opioid withdrawal, or whatever you want to say. Like, basically, he's there for some kind of like a detoxing program almost. But he says, listen, we'll talk afterwards. And after their meeting, they go out into the open area and they just start discussing, and they go, yeah, did you tell them that you feel like committing suicide? It's like, yeah, like just like way back when, sometime when all this bad stuff was going down with me. He goes, that's their end. This is a business. And you saying that and you signing the paperwork, that gives them the ability to keep you here. And you saying that about suicide, that gives them the ability to keep you here for a week. That is how long your insurance is willing to pay for this. They're just trying to drain your insurance of their money. this is all a giant scam. I've been here a while, and I've seen the people out there who are in column A who actually need the help, and the people in column B who don't need that help, and they're just being locked up in here basically until the insurance stops paying for it. I went, holy shit! This was not in the trailers. I didn't know that's what this film was going to be. And then a huge side of the story to this becomes this, the plot of, or the critique I should say, of for business industries. Like, for business industries that should not be for business. Like, you know, hospitals, prisons, things like that. Where basically it's like an establishment that is meant to do something good, and then the for-profit industry decided to take it over, and now it's just, yeah, we're just going to fuck everyone over until we can get the cash on this. Which sadly is a real fucking thing in the real world. And that's why I said, if you have any kind of condition, don't see this film, because it will make you so fucking paranoid to sign anything.
Yes, it's like, that's honestly one of my, like, pet peeves about Hollywood, is like, they're always like saying, oh, hospitals don't care about you, they just want your money, and it's like, your mental health is really important. If you're not happy with, like, the psychiatrist you're seeing, you have the right to see someone else. If the medication you're on is not working, you have the right to change it. You have the right to speak up. It's your body, it's your mind, it's your mental health. You need to, like, do something about this. Don't let, like, society pressure you into saying, oh, this is just how shit is, you know?
Yes, but at the same time, this is something that also goes down in the real world, and it's like, fuck, I've never seen the horror film about this. This is actually really interesting. Then, it ain't over yet. Then it turns out, the stalker she's been running from is actually working at the hospital.
Oh, of course.
Has actually tracked her down.
Why not? It's like...
And she is now stuck in there with this guy, and she has to get out, and she has no way out of this place for a whole week with her fucking stalker in there with her. Here's where the review starts.
Oh, right. Boy.
Okay. The storyline of some woman gets committed to a hospital, but she doesn't think she belongs there, but maybe she actually is mentally imbalanced. Maybe she actually does have a condition. Maybe she actually is in need of this help, but she doesn't realize it. So to her, this looks like a horror film, but in actuality, she just needs to get this help. That's a great story. The storyline of a woman who is running from a stalker and then gets committed to a mental institution, and then the stalker is working at the mental institution, that's a great horror film. The idea of someone who doesn't need to be in a mental institution being convicted to a mental institution because it's some greedy, corrupt business that is just trying to drain money out of the insurance company, so now she is locked up with a bunch of fucking psychopaths who are going to stab her with shivs, that is a great horror film. This is 3 great horror films that car crash together, and it's like, oh brother, no, these don't. Here's the thing, any 2 of these would work great together, but you got greedy, man, and you threw in that 3rd one, and it's not like I can really point to one specific one and be like, that's the one that you should have taken out. Actually, no, that's a lie, I can. But like, cause, like I said, you can point to 2 of these and say they really work well together. Like, is she actually insane, or is she actually like here by mistake? Oh my god, her stalker is working here. Or is he working here? Or is it all in her mind? Oh my goodness, that's a great story. Okay, you are being kept here against your will because of this greedy organization, and your stalker is working there with you. That actually works really well together too, because there's all this stuff of her running up going, no, you have to believe me. And then it kind of becomes a story not just about like the greed of for-profit industries taking over things like hospitals, but it also becomes a story about how people just don't believe women about their sexual assaulters.
Yeah, that's another reason why I was not really comfortable watching this movie, because it's like, oh, a stalker, and everyone thinks she's crazy because no one believes her. And
yeah, that is a huge part of this, and those 2 sides work really well together. Like, there was a moment in here in which she is finally able to call up her mom and go, listen, here's everything that's happening. I only have like 5 minutes. Here's everything that's going down. And then she comes to the hospital, and the sequence of the mom trying to get her out of the hospital is great. Just like step by step, every single person that she has to go through. And when she first gets there, I'm going to see my daughter, no matter what, I don't care. Well, I need to go and see this person. Listen, it's for her best interest that we keep her. It's for her best interest that she's locked up against her will with her stalker. And I was like, yes, that is what another side of this film. It's, oh my God, like the shit that women go through when being abused by men, and no one will fucking believe them. Yeah, that is also a great side of the story.
Like, did she, like, when she first, like, went in, like, did she explain to them, like, did she tell them the name of the stalker?
Yes, everybody is telling them the name, and they're like, no, we did a background check on, that's not his name, it's this name. And it's like, you're doing the background check on someone completely else. Do a background check on this name. Like, that's what they're trying to tell them.
Oh.
Yeah, but they're like, no, he's not, you're making up someone. It's, yeah, like, no one believes this stuff. Like, there was a moment in which she calls the cops as soon as she gets there, and goes, the cops will be here any moment now to take me out here. Do you know how many calls they get like that from people every single day? And then, like, the cops actually do have to show them, and they walk in there, it's like, hey, Laverne, hey, Bobby, hey, Bobby's partner, we have coffee in the back, none for you, Bobby's partner. Oh, what kind of coffee do you like? I like it with sugar. Well, I like mine with cream. Well, mine doesn't come with cream. Well, I don't want your coffee. Well, I won't give you coffee, you know that. Bye, Bobby, bye, Bobby's partner who doesn't get coffee. Like, they have such a back and forth. It's like, they do this every goddamn day. And when it gets to that point where the guy actually explains to her, do you know how many people are locked up here who aren't supposed to be locked up here? It's just because they're draining the insurance companies of their money. It makes you look back at that scene and you're just like, fuck, man, every single day they respond to people who are desperately trying to get out here because they're not supposed to be in there. And they're just like, whatever, we did our job, we showed up, it's fine. Bye, everyone. That's it. It's so shocking. But I forgot what your question was that led me to that. Do you remember what you just said?
Well, I asked if, like, she mentioned the name of her stalker.
Yes, okay. But yeah, so it is like this big thing of like, yeah, they don't care enough to actually look into this guy. But it's this great sequence of when the mom gets there.
Wait, I thought it'd be more like, oh, he runs the company, or like.
No, he's not that. You can't really be a stalker and be that successful. It takes a lot of time and effort to be a stalker. You don't have enough time to rise the corporate ladder.
Unless you're Christian Grey.
You know what? Without the creepy... If you put a really shitty soundtrack on this, it's not that far off. God damn it, that's the joke I should have opened this up with. But yeah, so... There's this great sequence of when the mom gets there and she just goes from one department to the next and she's like, how come no one will believe me? And then she goes to the head of the administrative department and it is the biggest bee you have ever met. Just smiling the whole time, and yet she's basically going, we have a long track record of people being released from here and coming out truly better than when they came in. It is our #1 concern. And in your mind, you're just like, fuck you. Bullshit. It's all and by the end of that, she has beaten the mom down so much to like, well, don't they get visiting hours or anything? Can I at least see her? It's like, I'll give you 20 minutes. It's like, fuck you. Yeah, you hate that person. They're only in this for like 2 scenes. So yeah, it's one of those things where, okay, all these little bits, like I said, okay, is she actually insane? Is that actually her stalker in here? Is this, like, is it reality or not? That's a great storyline. Oh my goodness, the greed company keeping her in here, and now the fucking person she was writing from is in there, and no one will believe her. It's just covering all the, like, big person shitting on the little person kind of storylines all in one, and it's working together. But then, whenever you shove that third storyline in here, it's like, oh, I forgot we were even doing this. Like, the is she actually crazy thing? There comes a moment in which, yeah, you're still questioning it, but not even halfway through the film, like a third of the way through the film, you just go, oh no, yeah, she's sane. It's totally still real. It's totally still all happening. So that storyline just goes away, but then, like, towards the end, they throw it back in there again, and I was like, no, dude, we already answered this thing. Weren't you there for that? So I really feel like they should have just left that completely off the table, and it would have made this film so much better. Because yeah, the whole stuff about like this is just shitty things that happen in the real world storyline. I want to just kind of put everything under that one big umbrella. Yeah, all that stuff is good. Like, there's one moment in which it flashes back to when she finally had to place the restraining order on this guy in the first place, and this detective comes to her house and just like tells her all the ways that she has to avoid her stalker, and it is the biggest list of shit that she is now going to have to live with. Like, this is her life. Like, he is telling her, are you on Facebook? Well, yeah, but it's private. No, it's no good, because he can find an old person that we were in band camp together, an old sorority sister, create a fake account with that friend you on there. Now he's seeing it. You gotta get off all social media. Do your close friends know your email? That's all you get from now on. It's like, fuck. And it's like, yeah, don't
Shouldn't they be telling that to the stalker?
That's the thing. This is a long ass sequence. By the way, the detective, now we're getting into semi-spoilery territory, so if you want to just tune out, go for it. The detective is played by Matt Damon.
Ooh.
And it is the briefest cameo. Like, this is Steven Soderbergh, and this is just a thing that he loves to do. I keep forgetting this is just something that he does in his films, because you remember in Logan Lucky last year?
Oh, yeah.
Went out of fucking nowhere. Who was it that showed up at the end of that? Shit, I can't remember, but someone shows up playing a detective at the very last, like, 10 minutes of that film, and we're like, Hilary Swank.
Yes.
And we're just like, Hilary Swank is a big fucking name. Why is she in here for, like, 10 minutes of this film? Yeah, Matt Damon just shows up out of nowhere in here, and just, like, it's a great scene of him just giving her all the shit that she now has to do. It's like, okay, I know you have a parking garage underneath your apartment. I know that's convenient. You can no longer park there. You now have to sell your car, only use Lyft or Uber services from now on. But if you are unable to do that or unwilling to sell your car, still do not park it under your garage. Park it on the street, always underneath a light source. And when you walk home, make sure you have your keys in your hand at all times. It's just like, this is your life. He is telling her flat out, this is her life. And in your mind, all you can think is, why the fuck can we not just arrest this guy? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, this guy has made her life shit. She has the track record to prove it. She has all his text messages. She has a list of all the stuff he's sent her. She has evidence he has broken into her house at night or while she was in the shower. And it's like, yeah, but he's free. He's fine. Your life is ruined now because this asshole will not leave you alone. And yeah, that is one of the messages that's trying to create in this film, and does it incredibly well. But fuck, man, it's hard to, like, it's a hard film to sit through. Mm-hmm. Like, this has got like an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes and like a 60% from the audience, and it's like, yeah, it is tough to sit through. But yeah, but the thing is that I wanted to say is that stuff about, oh shit, this is the kind of shit that women have to deal with. Yeah, that's great, but the moment that you, again, throw in that little, like, but is she crazy? It's like, well, fuck you then. Yeah, like, that is a great storyline if you're not trying to create this message. The moment you're trying to create this message, it's like, no, don't get that out of here. Shoot. No,
it's like,
over to the side.
Yeah, it's like, and like the whole crazy, like, the women going through hysteria thing is like, is really an old trope, and like it's an excuse to just like give.
It's never really. You're right. I can't really think of any films where it's like, is the man actually crazy? Unless it's like a supernatural thriller thing. Then it's okay. But when it's like, oh shit, is this person like? Do I belong in a mental institution? If they do that with a guy, there's typically like demons involved or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess you have a point there. This was a big thing back in like the 80s and early 90s, especially the early 90s. There were lots of films like this back then.
And it's like, I'm just like thinking about like in history in general. It's like, like the 1950s and everything, like women would be like diagnosed with hysteria, and everyone, they'd just be like doped up on drugs.
Well, I would actually go and say that's one of the reasons why I think this actually works. This film would work better for a woman than for a man, simply because it's like, yeah, there's a track record of this is the shitty way that women have been treated throughout time. And it is trying to create that message with this film. But, and here is where we start getting into additional problems that I have with this film. Because I love the message behind this film. When it remembers to make that message. Because even the whole, like, oh, company greed kind of thing that's going with, even though I love that she's trapped in there with the stalker thing, that still takes away from the big, important message that this film is trying to make so much that whenever it goes back to it, I'm still like, oh yeah, I forgot about that for a split second. Not like the is she crazy message that I completely forgot about. So yeah, it does have a hard time balancing everything all at once. But this is when I start getting into other problems. One of the problems with this film that I have is just the way that it's shot, because Steven Soderbergh decided he wanted to film this entire movie on his iPhone.
Oh.
Which is something that I've actually seen a lot of people trying. Like, it's like something that a lot of directors have started trying to challenge themselves to do. And in the beginning, that actually works great, because he is filming, when she is in the outside world before she gets committed, he is filming her constantly with his iPhone from like around the bush, behind a bookcase.
Oh, the stalker, you mean?
Well, no, like, it's trying to make you feel like you're the stalker. Because there's also moments where like she sits down at a table with someone and the phone is exactly where like a third chair would be at the table. So it's not like the stalker where like, oh, she would see the stalker sitting there, but it's supposed to make it feel like you're there in that same area with her. But it is trying to create that feeling of someone's watching her. Someone is like turning and looking at her, even if it's like someone that she would be able to see, like someone at the table.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she is constantly being watched. That's the feeling this is trying to create. And with the iPhone, that actually works great. I thought that was fantastic. The moment she gets in the hospital, it's like, okay, it's just kind of like ugly. That's all that it is. Like, yeah, it's putting this really dank looking yellow light over everything, which I get that because it's supposed to be
like,
that.
Is that supposed to be an Instagram filter or some shit?
Kind of, I guess. But there are moments, but that kind of works as well, simply because like it's trying to give you this like moldy rundown feel. Because man, I have been in some doctor's offices where they just had that one yellow fluorescent light going, and that was just the tone that the entire room had. It's trying to give you that feel to it. But because you can't really do much with an iPhone that you can do with a regular camera, there's really no like great shots in there, and it's all just kind of flat looking when he gets in there. And so eventually as time goes on, that one blank yellow light the entire time is like, dude, every single scene in here just feels exactly the same. I mean, it's not that one yellow light all the time. There's also some moments in which it's blue, which blue actually holds an important reference to something in this film that I probably won't even talk about. But yeah, it just... There came a point in which I thought, you know, if you film this with the iPhone on the outside world, that worked great. And then the moment you get inside here, filmed it with a regular camera.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, like when they tell her she has to take all their stuff away from her, that should be like the transition from like the phone to the actual camera.
Yeah, or like, you know, the moment in which like, there's a scene in which she goes, all right, take off all your clothes. And then she goes, all right, I'm out here. And then the door's locked. Please don't make me repeat myself. Then the shot after that, it's her in like a nightgown walking through the hospital. That would have been a great shot to go to a different type of camera. But it's still the iPhone camera, and yeah, it just kind of looked flat for the rest of this film. It looked kind of uninteresting. Like, I was actually checking my watch a couple times in this film because it's not like important, interesting things weren't happening. It just didn't look interesting. And there's almost like no score or anything in this film. So, and again, I get that it's trying to give like a realistic feel. Like there's something actually happening. But man, a lot of the times giving something kind of a realistic feel makes it seem less interesting. And that's kind of what it did in here. Like there was one moment towards the end of this film, she has been locked up in solitary confinement. She has been sent to the basement, which you're put in a big pad room.
Right.
And he comes in and he was like, no, I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to talk to you. I just want to talk to you. And he's like walking around the room and she is like backing up, constantly going around. The feeling you should get in there is claustrophobia. You should get this feeling of you are trapped in a very tiny room with someone. But the way they're shooting it from so far away with the iPhone, yeah, it looked like that room was pretty big. Like, which, again, I'm not trying to say like it's not a horrifying situation. I'm trying to say like you should feel claustrophobia in that scene, and he shot it in a way that made me feel like I was watching a stage play. Like the way he shot, it really did feel to me like I was watching two people perform this on a big giant stage. Which, yeah, that's not the feeling that you should have in a moment like that. So, yeah, the way that this film is shot, it's not that great. But another big problem that I have with this film, and I know this is one that a lot of people are going to disagree with me on, Claire Foy does a great job. She gives a great performance, but this is Steven Soderbergh film, and the thing that everybody always agrees with Steven Soderbergh is he is the guy who knows how to get great performances out of people. This is the guy who actually made people look at Channing Tatum and go, oh shit, that boy can act. Yeah, he's the guy who did Magic Mike, which, yeah, everybody was shocked at. But he did Lucky Luke last year, which was Lucky Logan last year, which was nothing but amazing performances. This is the thing they specialize in. So everybody in here does amazing performances. But the character of Sawyer, you're supposed to be rooting for her. You're supposed to be like looking at her like, yeah, okay, you can get out of this. All right. You're supposed to be wanting to see her survive. And yet she just does one thing after another in this film that made me go, oh my God. All right, fine. Well, I guess you're not getting out anytime soon. Again, I know this is going to sound like I'm mansplaining how to live in a mental institution. I'm mansplaining how to survive in a mental institution. But there are moments in this film in which I'm looking at like, if you just chill the fuck out right now, everything would be okay. And she cannot, for the life of herself, chill the fuck out. Because there's moments in here, like I said, when she is pissed off that she cannot get out of here, yes, I would be insanely pissed off as well. But the reason why they, especially after like her roommate threw a tampon at her and like threatened to like stab her, I would be freaking the fuck out. But she gets up and is like, fuck it, I'm going to the door. And then just some guy comes up, hi, I'm Jordan. And then he goes, get out of my way. Hi, and touches her. And then she just nails him there and like sends him down. And then like, yeah, of course, the very next day, it says here you assaulted another person. And it's like, it wasn't even the lady who was threatening to stab her. It was just some, hi, I'm me. And it was like, yeah, if you hadn't have done that, you might be okay right now. They might have let you out.
Gee, this movie seems to just paint women in a really bad light. Like, just...
In all fairness, like I said, everybody in this movie is an asshole. There's only one good guy in this film. And it don't end well for him. But yeah, there's so many things that she does in here that make me go, you could probably get out right now. Like her next door neighbor in the big room that they all stay in, I want to say like the crazy girl who was threatening to stab her, she keeps coming up with her and messing with her. And every time that she messes with her, Sawyer never just goes, all right, just maintain, just be cool. If you're cool, then in a week they will let you out. Every time that she comes up to her to mess with her, smack, just starts choking the shit out of her. She throws hot coffee in her face and burns her at one point. And I'm just like, do you ever want to get out of here? Like, I get it's a fucking insane situation, but fucking tap that shit down and just...
Like, once again, the crazy woman syndrome that's often portrayed in Hollywood, and just...
I don't even really want to go that far with it. Because it's supposed to be like, she is in a very... Like, I'm not trying to, like, downplay the situation in. She is trapped in a mental institution that does not want to let her go, and her fucking crazy stalker is there, and he's the guy handing her fucking pills. But... yeah, it's an insane situation, but again, there's so many moments in here which is like, just keep, you fucking know they are looking for any excuse to not let you go. Don't throw fucking hot scalding coffee in someone's face. It just makes sense to me. Or like this is the moment which it really kind of got to me. On the second day that she's there and her stalker is handing her pills, she doesn't want to take him. She's just like, oh, fuck this guy. But the first time that she sees him, she's just screaming, it's him! It's this fucking guy! Like, just screaming and losing her mind over it. And yeah, understandably, yeah, I would be doing the same. That's, yeah, we all understand that. But then, like, they keep pulling her away and telling her, no, it's not that guy and everything. They had to, like, shackle her down, like, tie her down. The second day that she's there and he hands her pills, I'm very sorry if I upset you. I didn't want to upset you in any way. And then after she is handed the pills and she takes them, he then like flips up the tray that he's holding and he's got an envelope from her mom's house there underneath it. He goes, this fucking guy, he's got this stuff. Oh my God, this fucking guy. And then they grab her and pull her away and restrain her up. And all I could think in that moment was, I understand losing your shit at that moment. I understand going, oh my God, this motherfucker, he is not only here in this place, he is threatening my family. I understand losing your shit over that. But all she had to do was just go turn to the other guy and go, I'm sorry, could you just, it's gonna make me feel a lot better. Could you just see what he has underneath there? It's just, you know, I'm gonna be really paranoid, but it'll help me sleep at night. Just tell me what's under there. All right, show me what's under there. It's just so we can go, no. Just do, no. Like, what was he gonna do then? Like, all she had to do was just rationally, like, calmly and rationally go, could you just, like, And here's the thing. I'm not saying they would have listened to her. But if she had said that and then they went, move along. No, I just like, it's just a small thing. If you could just move along, ma'am. But guys, you don't understand. I need you to look underneath it. It's kind of really important to me. If you move along or else we're going to have to restrain you. It's really important. And then they start dragging her away. Then it will be like, oh God, this evil fucking hospital. Instead, I'm kind of looking at like, she just lost her shit, like, and started screaming, this fucking guy. Yeah, man, if I was working in a mental institution, I would think, okay, we have to restrain her. Yeah, there's many times like that. And it was just like, if you just like fucking like said, hey, this thing here, like there's a moment in which, okay, now we're getting into the big spoiler territory. There's a guy she meets there. He's the guy going through the withdrawal program. He has a cell phone. They didn't explain at all how he was able to sneak the cell phone in there, but he says like early on, if you get to know the right people, they can get you whatever you need. So it's like, okay, fine. He's got a cell phone, and she eventually makes friends with him, and she uses the cell phone in order to contact her mom and get the mom investigating all this. They form a really close friendship, and they're like, you know what, when we both get out here, what do you say we meet up, like, you know, just have drinks? It's like, okay, that's fine. So her stalker then takes him, ties him up in a chair, beats the shit out of him, and then takes like the electric shock things, blasts him in the head, and then takes a medicine, gives him a massive overdose, and leaves his body dead in the basement for them to come and find. And then they come and find him, and of course they're like, oh my God, he had an overdose. Yeah, wow, he was doing so well. He takes the phone that he had, takes a photo of him dead in the chair, and says, look what I left you, and then leaves that, or it's some message kind of like that, and then leaves that underneath her pillow. She finds that, looks at that, and then immediately after she had thrown the scalding hot coffee in the other girl's face, and she had been brought back into her room and just been like put down there, and they're like, all right, don't make us tell you again. They put her down there, and then she immediately jumps up, ah, look at this thing, oh my God. And then they immediately, like, they don't even look at the phone, they just grab her and restrain her and tie her up. And I just kept thinking, I get, you see that and you are horrified.
Yeah, but it's like, you have a phone on you. Like.
Yeah, A, you have a phone. You have a phone. Copy this, 911, text message, this, come to hospital now. Call the, like, email every news source that you can find. Or just raise your hand to the orderlies and just go, I'm sorry for the way I was acting. Could you just look at something real quick? Again, if she said that and then they were like, no, fuck you, and then they left, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, but...
Also, I'm wondering, like, so, like, he tied him down in an electric chair, or...
It wasn't an electric chair, it was like a wheelchair.
Okay.
But it was a wheelchair with straps on to tie it and to hold it.
Yeah, but I was like, so how was he able to inject himself? Like, they said it was a suit,
No, they didn't find him in that, he took the wheelchair away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they just found him there on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there's so many moments in here like that, which is like, again, I know it sounds like I'm coming in here and mansplaining how to handle this situation.
No, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah,
like,
but it's like...
Also, I probably would have been a bit more pissed off at this movie than you, so...
Oh, yeah, I was like, I don't know if you would, like, I was sitting there the whole time like, would she have hated or loved this? Because it definitely would have been one of the two. Although, hearing your thoughts on it, it probably would have been the second one. Wait, what was the second one? You would have hated. Sorry. But yeah, there's so many moments in here which is like, I get how much stress you're in, and I would be freaking the fuck out too. But there's so many times in here in which it really feels like it could be resolved by you just going, could you just ask him what he's holding in his hand right now? Cool, thanks. And again, like I said, if she did that and then they were like, yeah, no. Then I could look at the hospital and be like, oh, this fucking evil hospital. She has a way out. She has a way out and she's trying to get out, but they won't let her out. But instead, I kind of look at her just like, if I was running a mental institution and you were just screaming nonstop and throwing hot scalding coffee in people's faces, again, from your angle, I get how it looks, but from their angle, it's like, yeah, man, you just look like somebody screaming and throwing hot scalding coffee in people's faces. So yeah, it's kind of rough. But then towards the end of this thing, it goes fucking insane.
You mean Unsane?
I didn't set that up. Because what happens at the end of this movie? Alright, full spoilers. She's now locked up in solitary confinement in this pad room, and he's the only person coming to her, only person bringing her food. And then she goes, you know, tomorrow they let me out of here. And then he's just like, I actually changed your forums. They think you're gone. No one knows you're here but me.
So, like, he's just keeping her there for himself?
Yeah.
Ugh.
But that's when there is a moment in which she has, like I said, Soderbergh gets the best performances out of people. She has the best go fuck yourself monologue. Just breaking him down, just sending this big 7-foot tall Yeti looking motherfucker until the point in which he is crying, just no, it's not. And she is just beating him down, calling him a simpleton, like not even like classic insults. Simpleton, that is a $5 insult right there. She is beating him down, and it's a great sequence. But then the next day he comes back and it's like, yeah, no, it's all forgiven. It's fine. I know that wasn't really you. And then her brilliant plan to get out of here. She tells him, how do you know that I'm the one if you've never been with someone else aside from me? If we're going to make this work, I can't be your first if I'm going to be your last. I need you to have sex with someone else. And I need proof you did it. I need you to bring someone down here. And he is crying at the thought of having to have sex with anyone other than her, because he's fucking insane. And yeah, he's tearing up. He's like, just grab a random person. It's like, no, grab this person. And I think her name is Zoe. I think I've been calling her something else the whole time, but she said, grab Zoe. And says, grab this other person, which is the girl with the shiv. And he goes, he takes her down, like, in the middle of the night, comes, picks her up, takes her down there. And then he is, like, crying at the thought of having to have sex with her. And then Sawyer goes up and reveals, oh yeah, I know the reason you were messing with me. It's because you just wanted attention with me. And then she starts making out with the crazy shiv girl, reaches into her pants, pulls out the shiv, and stabs him in the neck. This whole sequence goes on for a long ass period of time, and I was just sitting there like, what the fuck has this movie turned into? Like, every part of what I just described goes on so long, it's like, the fuck is happening? What am I watching right now? And then she stabs him with that, and she escapes out the door, and then he gets up, still with the thing sticking out of his neck, and he grabs the other girl and snaps her neck in two, like fucking Zod. Like, there's a thunderclap when he does it. And then there's this sequence of her trying to escape from the hospital, and it's, actually a pretty good escape sequence. But then she gets outside, and this is when, again, the iPhone problem comes in. Because he does like a day to night blue filter on there. And I get what it is, because he said, when I saw you in that blue dress, it was when you truly came to life and I realized I love you. And he like broke into her house one night to give her a blue dress. And it's like, okay, so blue, like, it has a big meaning. I get that. But it looks so ugly. It looks so goddamn ugly. But then he sneaks up on her and like whacks her in the back. And I had to bring this up because that is the loudest I have ever heard a woman scream in my theater in my life. Like, this was a small theater. Like, there was almost no one in there. Like, it was at UA Court Street, which we've talked about many times. It was in Theater 11, which is on...
way at the top, like...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was in Theater 12, which is on the 11th floor.
Yeah.
The 11th floor of this goddamn building. Just to give you an idea of it, when you go up, like, you hear on the bottom floor, like, the music playing and everything in the theater. You go up a level, you hear the arcade music playing. You go up another level, there's more arcades, you hear them playing. You go up, there's no more arcades, but you can kind of hear the music from below that. You go up one more level, you can't hear anything anymore.
Yes.
You go up another level, you really can't hear anything anymore. You go up one more level, there are no theaters on that level, it's just a bathroom. You go up one more level, that's Theater 12. Just that theater. Yeah, it is a fucking hike up there. So yeah, this was the...
Did you take the elevator? Or?
I had to, because when I hit level 9, the escalators were all shut down after that. And they were like repainting everything. So they're like, yeah, you gotta take the elevator. And the elevator doesn't work on that floor anymore. I was hitting it over and over, and they were like, yeah, it doesn't work all the time. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, like, I remember, like, one time, I think it was when we saw Mother, it was, like, on the top.
Was the same theater.
So...
Yeah. Mother, Annihilation, and this have all been on Theater 12. It is the most, like, yeah, I guess the indie hipster kids can take the climb. But the only reason I was actually able to see this film is because, like I said, the elevator didn't work on that floor. Someone finally, after, like, 5 minutes of me just pressing the button over and over, finally just decided to come up to, like, floor number 7 or whatever I was on. So, anyway, as I was saying, but yeah, so it was an empty theater. It was like maybe like 10 people in there, and this one woman, ah! At that scene, it was the best scream I've ever heard, even though like I saw that coming a mile away. But yeah, so after that moment, actually before that, but here's the thing, after that moment, you have her now in the trunk of his car. She finds her dead mother there in the trunk of the car. There's a chase scene of her like jumping out of the trunk and her like running with an injured leg through the woods as he is like running after her like, I will love you, with like an axe or something, a hammer I think it was. It's a pretty good chase sequence, but it's got that shitty ass blue filter on and it looks so goddamn ugly. And then, but while that's happening, from the moment that she ends up in solitary confinement to the end of this film, there is a moment of a woman jogging with a dog, which at first you actually think is her. You think, oh, this is the next day and she's out and she's fine. Because in the beginning of this, she mentions that she loves to go jogging, so she's healthy mentally, and she's going to adopt a rescue dog, so that's perfectly fine. And you see this woman jogging with the dog, and it's like, oh, so we're doing a little bit of a time skip, okay. No, it's a totally different woman, but she finds a body buried in the woods. And it turns out the body that's buried in the woods belongs to the guy whose name he's been using at this hospital. So that's one plot line going. And you see the cops having to deal with this. And it's the same two incompetent cops from the beginning of the film. Like, they keep coming back over and over again, just like repeatedly having to investigate this dead body that they found. And then, this is the moment that made me go, what the fuck? Well, no, the whole like, I need you to rape a woman so that way I can be sure that you love me thing. That's the moment that made me go, what the fuck am I watching? But there is a twist that then comes that made me go, I don't know how I feel about this. I've come to the decision I'm okay with it. The twist is a nurse at the facility, one of the ones who has been kind of rude and ignoring her and all of her pleas for help this whole time. She gets a phone call and she goes, all right, fuck. Turns on the news and it's the guy who was helping her, who the stalker killed and made it look like he OD'd. His picture is on the news with a tie on and like just looking very professional. He goes, was working undercover at this hospital to investigate several claims of abuse. And yeah, he was an undercover reporter, which explained how he got the phone. Now I was going to be pissed at this because I was like, I hate Deus Ex Machina. And I was like, God, this is such a lame twist. But then I went, oh, it explains the phone. You know what? It's not Deus Ex Machina. It's been here the whole time. All right, fine. But he also had like, while they were clearing out like all of his belongings, they found a notebook they had that had a list of every horrible thing that he witnessed there. And the guys who found it just went, good thing we found this. And they take it to the fucking shitty ass administrative lady who we all are supposed to hate and boo at the screen. And they hand it to her and she goes, it's a good thing you gave this to me. Like, just like, yeah, I'm making sure the cops never see this. And so then the rest of this film is constantly jumping back and forth in between this guy running after her with the axe, or I keep wanting to say axe because I'm thinking of The Shining, but with the hammer through the woods, just screaming out after her, cutting to like this hospital being interviewed on the news. We have the best staff that only cares about our patients. I will make you love me. Like, yeah. Okay, I get it. Sorry, that's pretty good. But it's just so weird how it's going back and forth, and it's like, it feels like this would take days, whereas the other thing feels like it's taking like 5 minutes.
Maybe it's another Dunkirk thing.
Maybe. This is the Dunkirk of horror films. But yeah, it's kind of a good wrap-up though, because it made you hate this hospital so goddamn much that at the end, when they find the notebook that she was given and she was like, I'm going to hold on to this, it's like, why wouldn't you throw that out? But they find it, they look at it, and they go, yep, arrest her. And then you see like the look on her face, like, what? No. It's a very rewarding moment because she's such a horrible piece of shit. But you want to see other people going to jail too. Everybody at this hospital is horrible.
So like what happened to Sawyer? She's just still running in the woods?
No, Sawyer, she found the cross on her mother's necklace when she was in the trunk with her dead body. She takes that, and then she has her foot broken when he catches up to her. And then he's like, now we can lay down. Yes, like I always, and he's just like cuddling up next to her. Then she takes the cross, leans over, and stabs him in the eye. Then she pulls out the shiv that apparently she still had on her.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought, why are you gonna need to use the cross if you still have the shiv? But then she pulls out the shiv and cuts his throat, and murders him. Then it cuts to 6 months later. And now she is apparently like the boss of the company she just got hired at the beginning of this film, despite the fact that she was locked up in this place for 7 days. Without giving them any notice she would be gone. But I guess if you're making national news for helping to bust this corrupt hospital...
Yeah, that'd be great on your resume. Like.
Yeah. So she is now the boss, and she is at lunch with someone, and then she sees her stalker over there, and she picks up the knife and walks over to him and is about to stab him, and then looks around and it's a different guy, and then she drops the knife and runs out there. No, no, no. Freeze frame, credits roll. These are the shortest credits I've ever seen in my life, by the way. The credits on this are literally maybe 90 seconds. Which, when you find out it was all shot on an iPhone, it's like, oh yeah,
yeah, that makes sense.
Because you had no lighting crew, no sound crew, no multiple photographers. Yeah, all right. But yeah, it is over and done with quick. But yeah, that's the moment that made me go, all right. I forgot that this was part of the story. And you brought it back after she had been proven right about everything. And now you're trying to do like a, but is she still crazy? And I'm like, no. Which I get that now the message is supposed to be different. Now the message is supposed to be, is she, you know, has she now been driven crazy?
Yeah, after all the stuff that's happened to her, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes,
but
understandable. Except at the beginning of this film, they did so much setting up, is she crazy? That it makes you think back to that, and it's like, no, we answered that. Now you're bringing up the question again.
It's like, shut up already. Like,
it's like, dude, if they had not had it at all in here until that moment, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Because it would have been, has she been driven crazy by this? But you already have spent this entire film trying to make us go, is she crazy? And it's like, no, we know she's not. But now you're trying to say that now she is, but she wasn't before. And it's like, that doesn't work, man. Yeah, it did not stick the landing there at the end. So basically, what I'm saying about this film is, as I said in the beginning, it's got a lot of different plots going, and they're so good for what this movie should be. And it's making great messages, and it's great ideas mixing together, but then they just threw too many things into that one pot. And yeah, man, it just did not pan out, and they needed to give you a protagonist who didn't quite act, who was at least willing to not act like somebody who you could picture being locked up in a mental institution. They needed to make the protagonist, the situation she has is awful. But you, the audience, should never ever look at a character in a film and go, well, what if you did this? Unless the character is then going to do that exact thing. And you're going to do that a lot in this film. There are so many moments in this film in which it really, like, I know, again, I have to keep coming back to this. I know she's in an awful situation, but there's so many moments in this film in which it really feels like she is just playing into the hands of this shitty situation. It feels like there's so many moments in which you just want to go, not helping. You are not going to get yourself out of here acting like that. And again, if she had acted in a way that made the audience go, oh, that's what I would do in that situation, even though most of us wouldn't because we'd be too freaked out to do it. But you want your character in the film to act the way that the audience who is not in that situation would act, because that's what they're going to be thinking of the whole time. So if she had been acting that way, and then we still saw the hospital was that shitty, that it was still like not helping her, then we would be on her side so much more. But instead we're just on her side because she's in a fucking awful situation. So that's a problem there. And also, God damn, man, I know you wanted to try something new, but shooting this on an iPhone camera, whoa, that was not a good idea. It was cool in the beginning, and the beginning worked wonderfully. After that, man, it took so many scenes that I thought this could have been awesome and just made them look so flat. So yeah, I would say that this film, it's worth watching, but I'd say it's a rental. It's like a high rental. Like, you know, when this comes out on Netflix or on Redbox or wherever it is that you watch movies, yeah, you know, it's worth a look. I would definitely say it's worth a look, especially if you like suspenseful horror films. But I don't think it's worth going to a movie theater, honestly.
Yeah,
not.
it's like, it might strike a nerve if you're like a woman who suffers.
Oh, you definitely don't want to watch this. Definitely not. Well, our dog wants us to play with it.
Yeah.
So that's why Michelle's been leaning forward this whole time.
Yep.
It's Peach!
Yay!
Yay, look at something cute now.
Yay!
Alright. So, alright, everybody, we've got 2 other films coming up this weekend. I don't know if they're going to be as good as this one. One of them I'm hoping is because it is the spiritual successor to Fantastic Mr. Fox, which was one of my favorite animated films of all time, so I'm looking forward to that. But the other one is that new Pacific Rim movie, and I didn't even like the first Pacific Rim all that much. So,
I thought you did.
I thought it was a fun, cheesy B horror
Action movie, yeah.
film. I thought it was a good, fun, cheesy B film. But there are so many people who love that film, and man, the moment I heard they were making a sequel, I just went, why? So, yeah, so when I say I didn't really like it, I mean, I didn't like it enough to think it warranted a sequel.
Okay.
And this thing is getting awful reviews right now, and I'm like, yeah. Pacific Rim is a one-trick pony, and that movie ended with that trick being resolved. We did not need another one of these.
Unless it's a prequel.
No.
No.
It's confirmed to come back.
I know, but it's like, if it was a prequel, it would have been like really awesome.
Yeah, prequel I could see. If John Boyega was playing young Idris Elba. That's what I thought it was going to be, but nah, apparently, yeah, I thought that's what it was going to be. Apparently he's playing his son. Yeah, I don't know. Because, yeah, dude, you ended it last time. Anyway, I honestly think a lot more people would have been interested in seeing us just do a flashback review to the original Pacific Rim than watching this video. I was not planning on going this long with this, but there's a lot to discuss in this film. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Come back for those other reviews. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.